EU says US inflation subsidies are distortions. Volcanoes erupt in Italy and Indonesia. El Salvador deploys troops to gang-run capital suburb. Honduras to suspend constitutional rights to fight gang violence. Iran disbands morality police after months-long protests. Scientists may have spotted the elusive Planet 9. US debuts new B-21 Raider stealth bomber. Museum's daring feat brings major Ukraine art show to Spain.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Monday, December 5th, and here are your top stories. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said on Sunday the EU must take rebalancing measures to smooth out the distortions of competition caused by the massive American subsidies of Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. The U.S. Inflation Reduction Act is a roughly €350 billion investment plan to build a new green economy, particularly in clean energy production. Subsidies and tax credits are linked to companies using U.S. products or producing in the U.S.
The multi-billion U.S. program to promote climate-friendly technologies in America, signed by U.S. President Joe Biden in the summer.
Speaking at the College of Europe in Bruges in Belgium, von der Leyen said that the bloc must take action to rebalance the playing field where the Inflation Reduction Act and other measures create distortions. In other words, we need to do our homework here in Europe, and at the same time, we have to work with the United States to mitigate competitive disadvantages. European Union concerned that Biden's landmark Inflation Reduction Act was anti-competitive and would cost European jobs, especially in the energy and auto sectors.
A volcano erupted in Indonesia on Sunday, spewing a cloud of ash 50 kilometers into the sky and forcing the evacuation of nearly 2,000 people. Also on Sunday, Stromboli volcano in Sicily, Italy erupted at 3:45 p.m. and a tsunami was recorded on Sunday afternoon on the island of Stromboli in southern Italy. Indonesia's transport ministry said there were no immediate reports of any casualties from the eruption. Italy's civil defense also said there was no reported damage to people or property.
Clouds swirl around Mount Semeru.
The latest eruption occurred on Semeru, which is the tallest mountain on Java. Indonesia's Disaster Mitigation Agency, BNPB, said the eruption began at 2:46 a.m. local time, which prompted authorities to evacuate 1,979 people to 11 shelters. The government distributed masks to residents and rescue and conducted search and evacuation efforts. According to preliminary information, local Italian authorities issued alarms after a detachment at Sierra del Fuoco around 4:20 p.m. local time created a tsunami.
Last Saturday, El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele announced the deployment of 10,000 security forces to a suburb of San Salvador known to be a stronghold for gangs. The move is the latest escalation in a crusade against gang violence that began in March, which human rights groups say has been marked by unjustified detentions. The president tweeted that troops are surrounding the municipality in the eastern part of the capital region, known to be a stronghold of the Mara Salvatrucha and Mariel 18 gangs.
The president said 8,500 soldiers and 1,500 agents have surrounded the city of Soñampango, while extraction teams from the police and the army are tasked with extricating all the gang members still there one by one. Since he began his plan to combat gangs, Bukele has ordered the arrest of more than 50,000 alleged gang members. The plan aims to reduce the Central American country's homicide rate to less than 2 a day, after dozens of Salvadorans were killed in a single weekend in March.
The government of Honduras announced last Saturday that it will suspend some constitutional rights in areas of 2 main cities controlled by criminal groups. The country's Security Secretariat said in a statement the partial state of exemption will enter into force on Tuesday, December 6th at 6 p.m. for 30 days to promote the gradual activity of economic development, investment, commerce, and in public spaces. In some of the poorest areas of the capital, Tegucigalpa, and the northern city of San Pedro Sula.
President Xiomara Castro says she wants to end an epidemic of gang-driven extortion and crime.
The measure, which is expected to be endorsed by the Council of Ministers, is part of President Xiomara Castro's plan to deal with violent gangs. The plan follows pressure from businessmen, truck, bus and taxi drivers, residents, and non-governmental organizations who say extortion, largely by the Mara Salvatrucha MS-13 and Maribero 18 gangs, has worsened in recent months. This extortion generates annual profits equivalent to $737 million for the gangs, nearly 3% of the country's gross domestic product.
Hello, I'm Peggy. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Monday, July 25th, and here are your top stories. Bloomberg reported that Australia is on high alert for foot and mouth disease in its cattle herds after traces of
用心生活，享受自由，学习，走自己的路。FUNDAY 英语。
Iran's ISNA news agency reported Sunday that the country's attorney general announced the abolition of the country's morality police by those who created it. The media reported Iran's attorney general said last Friday that parliament and the judiciary were reviewing laws requiring women to wear head coverings. The Telegraph cited President Ibrahim Raisi as saying last Saturday that while the country's Republican and Islamic foundations were constitutionally entrenched, the methods of implementing the constitution could be flexible.
Iran's hijab headscarf became obligatory for all women in Iran in April 1983, 4 years after the 1979 revolution that overthrew the U.S.-backed monarchy. Iran's state-run Islamic Republic news agency reported last Saturday as many as 200 people have been killed in the ongoing unrest. Iran's attorney general said the review team met last Wednesday with Parliament's Cultural Commission and will see the results in a week or two. Iran has been swept up in protests since Mahsa Amini died in police custody for violating the dress code.
A report from Science Alert reveals an astronomer at the Imperial College London, Michael Rowan Robinson, analyzed data of observations from the Infrared Astronomical Satellite, IRAS, taken in 1983, and he argues that it may contain evidence for the elusive planet night. He has pinpointed 3 key sources, each of which were detected roughly within a month of each other. He said that the 3 separate observations are suggestive of a single transient object.
Planet 9 is currently only a hypothesis extrapolated in 2016 from the observation of an anomalous gravitational force in the Kuiper belt on the outskirts of our solar system. According to a recent theory, the elusive object may not actually exist, or it may in fact be a tiny black hole. Rowan Robinson points out that, given the great interest of the Planet 9 hypothesis, it would be worthwhile to check whether an object with the proposed parameters and in the region of sky proposed is inconsistent with planetary movement.
Last Friday, the U.S. unveiled the B-21 Raider, a high-tech stealth bomber that can carry nuclear and conventional weapons and is designed to be able to fly without a crew on board. Produced by Northrop Grumman, the B-21 Raider is the first new American bomber aircraft in more than 30 years and was projected to cost approximately $550 million each in 2010 dollars, or about $750 million in today's inflation-adjusted dollars. The U.S. Air Force planned to buy at least 100 of the planes and begin to replace B-1 and B-2 bombers.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin predicted that even the most sophisticated air defense systems will struggle to detect the B-21 in the sky. Many specifics of the aircraft remain classified, but Austin held no other long-range bomber can match its efficiency and its durability. Northrop is calling the plane a 6th-generation aircraft, given its ability to connect to other aircraft and easily integrate future weapons into its system's architecture. The B-21 also requires less maintenance and keeps operations costs and downtime to a minimum.
Spain's Thyssen-Bornemisza National Museum has teamed up with the National Art Museum of Ukraine to secretly bring dozens of 20th century Ukrainian avant-garde artworks to Madrid for a unique exhibition and a show of support for the war-torn country. In the eye of the hurricane, Modernisms in Ukraine 1990 to 1993 opens to the public last Tuesday, featuring some 70 works, mostly from the Kyiv Gallery and the country's theater, music, and cinema museum. It will run until next April.
The show is the brainchild of Swiss-born art collector and activist Franziska Thyssen-Bornemisza, founder of the Museums for Ukraine Support Network, and her friend, Ukrainian art historian and curator Konstantin Akinsha. They came up with the idea following Russia's invasion of its neighbor last February. The central concept was to counter Russia's narrative that Ukraine doesn't rightfully exist and that its art is really Russian. The paintings ranging from figurative art to futurism and constructivism.
FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.